Generally, the further east you go, the later it gets, because that's how time zones work. But if it kept going east and getting later, it would eventually wrap around the whole world, because the world is a sphere. Actually, it's not a sphere, it's an oblate spheroid. That detail doesn't matter here. Exactly what were we talking about? Right, time zones. After the time zones go around the world, there's a place where the time of day is the same, but on one side is the day before, and on the other is the day after. It's called the International Dateline. Professional advice: go on whichever side it is not Tuesday. The issue with having part of your country be on the next day is that it's hard for scheduling things and also general conversation. Arguments about how to pronounce Tuesday are bad enough. You don't need arguments about if it is Tuesday or not. Countries have solved this issue by changing the dateline. At the north, it bends a little bit to conveniently go between Russia and Alaska. It then goes directly south through the middle of the ocean until it reaches Kiribati, where it turns into a massive hammer, before going back, cutting through Samoa and American Samoa, and then goes east of Chatham Island in New Zealand, which has only one school, Taiwan School, in the town of Taiwan. The dateline is just one line, or in mathematics terms, it's a bunch of line segments. But who really cares about mathematics? Point is, there are other lines. Normally the time goes up an hour at a time, but that's not true everywhere. Nepal's time zone is UTC plus 5 3/4 hours. That's interesting. But what's UTC? UTC is the opposite side of the planet from the dateline, and all time zones are measured in plus or minus some amount of hours from UTC, unless you're in it, in which case you're 0 hours from it. The most extreme time zone belongs to Kiribati, as they want it to be entirely on the west of the dateline. You might remember that from earlier in the video, when we mentioned the massive hammer shape. The Line Islands are the furthest east part of Kiribati, where the time zone becomes UTC plus 14. China likes unity and not having any separatist movements so much that they have one time zone for their entire country, while Russia has 11 time zones because they are very big, despite what their military's performance might have made you think. Chatham Island with Taiwan School, we mentioned earlier in the video, also has a strange time zone, UTC plus 12 3/4. I don't think that was Taiwan most interesting fact in this video, but it might have been. Greenland is mostly in time zone UTC minus 3, but a small area in the east by, and if you can pronounce this correctly, you are either Greenlandic or insane, Itokorturmit is UTC minus 1. There's also a tiny area by a USA airbase that is UTC minus 4, and another area in northeastern Greenland by Danmarkshavn weather station that is in UTC. So the moral of the story is that Greenland is mostly one time zone, but also has 3 other tiny areas with different time zones. That is not a very good moral of the story at all, but I can't think of a better one, so let's leave it at that.